Hey there friends, Erica here from Highway 49 RC. Today we're going to be looking at some RC4WD Drive King shocks and some Boomracing, these are Voodoo Driveshafts by Boomracing for the Gelande here. Been working on this recently. If you guys haven't been tuning in, which I hope you have been, I'm sure you all have been. So I'm excited to get working on these, so I'm going to just take these off their pallets here from the delivery that I got last weekend. Now I know a lot of people trash on the RC4WD Drive King shocks, and I'm a little nervous, but in some places there were good reviews, in some places there weren't, so I'm going to take my chances, I think, and try them out. Also, in my negligence when ordering all this stuff, so these are 90mm shocks, right? And so I got the springs for the 80mm shocks. On accident, of course. Although, thinking about it, it'll kind of help to give a droop suspension, give a more scale look in the end, and they're only $7 per pack. I like the way they look, and that's mainly why I got them, is for their looks. So I'm not super concerned about performance. I definitely went after them more for their looks rather than performance. Drive shafts look pretty nice. The one thing that does slightly concern me off the bat is that on this clip, or on this pin here, there's actually an E-clip, and I have a feeling that's probably not the best solution, because it might hang up and like get pulled off on rocks and stuff, but we'll see. So yeah, let's get into putting this stuff together. We'll start with the drive shafts, because the shocks are going to make a big old mess, as they do. I think today I'm going to be smart and wear some gloves when I do that. Step 1, remove old drive shafts. Alright, so we got the old shafts out. Now before we install the new shafts, we want to make sure that they are in phase, or that each joint on either end is in phase. So what that means is the ears on the ends of the shafts essentially look like this, right? There's 2 ears here and 2 ears here. And on either end of the shaft, you've got them, let me try and go. They're facing like this, right? Ideally they should be facing, okay. Let me put this differently. If you look at the very ends, these guys, on the ends of the shafts, you want the ears to be facing like in line with each other. This way they need to be in line. If they're skewed off a little bit, that's out of phase. So you want to make sure that they're perfectly in line. Hopefully that makes sense. So now they supply some hardware with these shafts when you buy them. They come with some nice little scale red rings here, which fit on the ends of the shafts. And then the pin will go through there. Very nice scale detail, I must say. I'm a big fan of that. Looks very nice. So we'll go ahead and start installing them. Alright, so then they also supply these little spacers. So the first thing we do is put the spacer on the shaft there. Next we're going to take and put the red ring onto the drive shaft itself. Slide that onto the pinion. Grab a little bit of Loctite, because we always want to make sure that our shafts are Loctited. Just a little dab, without squeezing it all over the place. Okay, just a little bit of Loctite, and whoops, get everything pinned together just like so. Alright. Now we'll go and up here. Now, like I said before, I want to make sure that these shafts are in phase with each other. The thing is with these though is that you can't get them perfectly in phase. You can get them pretty darn close, but they don't ever end up being perfect, which is a shame, to be honest. Alright, so actually, I'm having a problem here, and that is that it might be, I might need to undo the links actually, so that I can actually slide the shaft on. So I'm going to do that real quick. That should be enough. So we're going to do just like we did before. Put the little spacer dealie on there. Make sure that the shaft is in phase. Make sure the joints are in phase. Oops, forgot to put the little red scale ring on. That will slide, should slide right on. Just like that. That guy there. There we go. And get that threaded right in there. And of course, got to put the link back on. There we go. That is a nice looking drive shaft. Yep, that is perfect if I do say so myself. Let's move on to the front. Alright, I just went ahead and did the front off camera because I already showed you how I did the rear, but those really do add some nice bling now, don't they? Yeah, makes the undercarriage look real nice. Alright, so I've got 3 of them done, all taken apart, green slimed and shock oiled, and I thought I'd bring you along for the last one here. So, pull off the spring perch, take the springs off. I'm going to undo the top cap here, and then I'm just going to set this upside down because there is some crummy oil in there, as you can see, spilling out. Don't really know what that is, so we're going to get rid of it. Take a Q-tip, clean out the inside of the top cap here, just to make sure everything's nice and clean. So we don't want any of that other oil that I am unaware of what it is in our shocks. So that's mostly drained out. Take a pair of pliers. Yes, I know this is going to make a lot of people cringe, but these aluminum ends aren't on there very tightly anyways. They're really just on there finger tight, if not a little more. Pull that off carefully. The trick is, if you grab them with the pliers, just use a pair of pliers that looks like that, and you grab it in one of the notches and make sure that the shaft doesn't actually slip, because that's what scratches it. It's not necessarily just grabbing it with the pliers that is the problem. The problem is when it slips. So take the piston out, let that goop all over that. Grab a Q-tip again, just kind of clean out any other extra oil in there. As you can see, there's all sorts of gunk down in there. I want to get rid of that. It stinks too, if I must say so myself. Wipe off the old digits, and now we'll do the old green slime trick. Pop out the O-rings here. Just kind of wipe those off a little bit as well. Make sure the green slime can get on there real good. Slime goes on. I'm making sure that I put an excess amount, like a whole crap ton, on these shocks in particular, because they are known to lose their oil very fast, or so everybody says. So I'm not taking any chances. I'm putting a lot of extra on, and then also when I'm done, I'm putting green slime on the shock shaft itself to make sure that there's plenty in there and getting all up in those O-rings as the shock is working. So that's done. Put this little plastic thing back in the bottom cap. And just cap that back up. I'm not going to tighten it all the way down yet though. Make note of that. Now we'll set that up there, grab our shock piston and shaft, get those wiped down, like so. Take this, stick the shaft in there, down the hole, there we go. The reason I'm not tightening it down yet is so that the shaft can get in there really easily and doesn't damage the O-rings. Make sure that's nice and tight. Wipe off any excess down at the bottom. Now, time to fill with oil. I'm using a 40 weight Team Losi Racing. I mean, this is really the only oil that I have, so I've got what I got, you know. I do want to try experimenting with other weight oils at some point. So I'm going to fill it up about halfway first, and we're going to get the air pocket out from under the piston, because when you pour the oil in, there's an air pocket underneath the piston. So this is the piston, there's an air pocket down here that you gotta let kind of sit out a little bit. Cycle that just a little bit, get those bubbles out. I'm gonna set it in our Traxxas wrench here. I've just found that actually works really well as a little shock stand. And while that's doing its thing, settling out, I'm gonna put a little bit of green slime on this top O-ring for the top cap. Just like that, make sure there's plenty on there. Not exactly sure what it is about the green slime that makes it such a good sealant, but apparently it is. It helps to keep the shock oil from leaking out. And put that aside, grab our shock again here. Yeah, looks like most of the bubbles have kind of come out of that, which is good. I don't see any more coming up, so we'll fill it all the way up to the top of the threads. So right up to about there is where I'm going to fill it up to. Just checking to make sure everything's in focus here. Sorry if it's not. Yeah, fill it up to the threads is what I'm going to do. Just a couple threads above, actually. Now, put the cap on. Push the piston all the way to the top. And you're going to hold the piston at the top of the cylinder while you tighten this down. And it takes a couple times to do this to get any excess oil out. See if I can get it perfect first time. Doesn't look like I'm gonna. Wipe off a little bit of oil and slime that's squeezed out. And oh yeah, that's actually pretty darn good. So I'm basically looking, it stops about that far from the bottom, which is about how far all my other shocks have stopped from the bottom on. Yeah, that's pretty good. So it comes out a little ways, and when you pull it, it retracts back in, pushes itself out, pull it, and it sucks it back in just a teensy bit. And that's perfect. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Make sure that's nice and tight. See, I did get slime on everything. Everything's oiled up. Grab our springs. Oop, nope, wait. Gotta put the old rod end on there. Nice anodized blue one. Put our shocks on, not the shocks, the springs. Spring cup, springs on, and that's a pretty nice shock. There you go. Ah, shock's built. Time to install them and go wash my hands, as I did not wear gloves this time. Oh well. Alright, so I'm surprised. Actually, that went pretty quick, and I'm surprised at how accurate I got the shocks and how little mess I did make. So I guess I'm getting a little bit better, if I do say so myself. So I'm just going to time-lapse all this, putting the shocks on, because I mean it's literally taking screws out, putting screws in, taking screws out, putting screws in. You get the idea. So let the time-lapse begin, and I shall get these installed. Oh yeah, those drive shafts in there look sweet. They definitely add a little pop of color. And the shocks, I will say, also look quite nice as well. I'm very happy with them so far, fit and finish wise. In terms of anything other than that, and for like performance or something, I cannot say yet, unfortunately. I would like to be able to say, but alas but alack, I cannot. They feel really nice, they're pretty, they're quite plush. Aside from this collar here rubbing on the shock a little bit, which makes them a little bit noisy and makes them feel a little bit funny when you move them with your hand, but not that big of a deal. So, next time, the plan is to work on the electronics, getting the old electronics back in, also putting a new steering servo in, and probably a new motor as well. I've got some stuff going on with that, but I'm not sure when I'll get to that episode. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching episode... What is this, 9? Yes, episode 9. Thank you all so much for... No, wait. Yes, 9. Sorry about that. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Definitely was in a better flow today. Hope you guys are grateful for that as well. So, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you comment down below if these are shocks that you like, or if they are really garbage, as everybody says. Also, what you think about these drive shafts. So yeah, make sure you hit that notification bell as well, and follow me on Instagram at highway49_RC. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you on the trail.